What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, back here for another Tottenham update. We've got a bit of news to get through today, and where better to start off than obviously Harry Kane. And Sky Sports have broken today about Nuno's been speaking, and he says he expects Harry Kane to be available for the Man City game this weekend. And Charlie Eccleshare followed on from that and says Tottenham Hotspur expect Harry Kane to return to first team training on Thursday following his period of isolation. So, what do we make out of all of this now?
Well, I guess what we got to make out of it is if Kane is not involved at all on Sunday, I guess that maybe that's a bit telling as to where what direction this whole saga is going potentially. I think if he is maybe on the bench or something, if he's available to play, maybe that tells us that he is prepared to stay at Tottenham for another year. I guess that's what we've got to read into the situation. It's very interesting because a lot of publications will say we're pretty much ruling him out for the first game. And now they're saying, Eccleshare is saying it's going to be a tight it's going to be a tight time frame to get him through the door, but for Sunday. But Nuno's saying he expects him to be available, which is interesting.
It's very interesting. Well, I hope he does make himself available. Being available doesn't necessarily mean he will play, though.
He's not going to start. He won't start.
I can't see him starting, but look,
I think
we'll see. I mean, we've seen Harry Kane come back quicker before, haven't we?
Yeah, I know, but the way we've been in pre-season, I think playing those front four for pretty much every game, the way they've kind of gelled together is pretty nice. So I think we want to keep that cohesion for the first game probably. And I think as well, the best way to probably play against City is probably those fast attackers who can press and stop City playing out from the back. So
it's where we've had most of our success against City without Harry Kane. Yeah,
so I think... I don't think he's going to be starting, but I think there's a chance he'll be on the bench, I guess, which is positive. And it's positive. It will be positive if he is involved. It will definitely be positive. It just means he's reintegrated into the side. It will mean he's had a positive conversation with Nuno as well. So that's a good thing, but I'll have to wait and see, because if we turn up on Sunday and he's not in the squad, then it's like back to square one, I guess.
You know what winds me up is every time Nuno speaks, he's like, yes, I haven't had the chance to speak to him yet. We need to sit down and have a conversation. And I mean, like, he's been back at Hotspur Way since Saturday, right? Isolating. And he's like, yeah, I need to sit down and have this socially distanced chat with him. I mean... We're on Monday now. Why haven't they had the chat? And like, why wasn't it done earlier? I don't understand it.
Yeah, he was saying it's about solving the problem, solving the issue, and it's about doing it together. He was asked if is he the right person to solve the issue, and he said, I don't know if I'm the right person, but it's about doing it together, having a nice conversation, putting our opinions across, and seeing if we can solve the issue. So clearly, I mean, we all know there's an issue. I mean, that's no secret. But I'm guessing hopefully Nuno's approaching it in the right way, and hopefully we can, they can have a conversation and resolve whatever the issue is right now.
I think we know what the issue is, though, don't we?
Yeah, but hopefully Nuno's the right guy. I mean, I'm hoping that he'll have a conversation with Kane, and maybe they can kind of put everything to the side and come to some sort of understanding. But we'll have to wait and see until after they have the conversation.
There's only one man that can resolve this situation. That's Daniel Levy. And I feel like it's probably gone a bit too far to resolve the situation anyway.
You can't. The only way he can resolve it is accepting a lower fee right now. That's the only way right now he can resolve it.
Yeah.
Nowhere else.
Exactly.
No other way. So.
Well, the other way to resolve it, the other way is to go back in time and back the team when we needed it.
Well, unless we invent time travel in the next month, that's it.
All right, let's move on. Let's talk about Christian Romero. Charlie Eccleshare says that Christian Romero is training on his own at the moment, but is past the rehab stage, so hopefully it won't be too long till he makes his Tottenham debut. It's interesting to know, well, nobody knows right now, but do you think this weekend probably come a bit too soon for him?
Yeah, I'd assume so. I don't think he's going to be starting this weekend. I think if he would have been maybe signed a week earlier and maybe he'd been training maybe for a bit longer.
But he had that niggling injury, that's the problem.
Yeah, I know, but I don't know. I just feel like because the transfer was delayed, maybe maybe the medical staff didn't have enough time with him to nurse the injury. I don't know. I don't think it's going to happen this weekend for him, unfortunately. As much as we need him, and I'd love it. Even if we spring a surprise and he is starting, that'd be class. But I just think I've got a feeling it's going to come too soon for him.
Let's move on. Let's talk about Bryan Gil, brand new signing from Sevilla. Dan Kilpatrick says Bryan Gil is expected to report to Spurs tomorrow, despite playing in Spain's gold medal match versus Brazil on Saturday, where they ended up with the silver medal. I saw a bit of highlights from Gil from that game, and he looked really good. He really did look good, didn't he?
He was. When he came on, he changed the game when he came on for Spain. I know they lost in extra time, but he was brilliant. He had a really good instrumental role in the equaliser that they scored from Mazurvabal. And what mentality that is. 2 days after the Olympics, he's already coming back. I know he had a bit of a break before the Olympics, but still, most players you would expect after a tournament like that, they're going to take a bit of a break and they're going to at least a week or something, to rest his legs. But he's clearly very, very keen to get back at Spurs as soon as possible and start training and start competing. I think clearly this mentality, this kid is a hard worker, and I don't want him to strain himself too much, but he seems desperate to make an impact, doesn't he?
Good. And that's what we like to see at Tottenham Hotspur for sure. And going back onto that game, the winner for Brazil was Malcolm. Another one that got away, another one that we heavily linked with.
Yeah, we nearly got him, I remember.
He played really well, Malcolm. That speed, to take it past that player was insane.
Yeah, it was an extra time though, so it's like tiring legs. You got a fast wing, it's always going to make a bit of an impact.
But definitely looking forward to seeing Bryan Gil. We'll see tomorrow all the pictures coming through of him in the Spurs training gear, hopefully.
And you see his shot as well. He hit the bar.
Hit the bar, yeah.
What a brilliant effort
rattled the bar, didn't it?
Great effort from 25 yards. I've never seen Spurs Twitter go so crazy for a shot that's hit the bar.
I think you started that.
Yeah, I did. He did nearly score a worldie. It wasn't. I was just showing. Look, this guy hit the bar, and everyone's like, "Oh my god, look at this guy hit the bar. He's going to be the next big thing." Some people were like, "Oh, it was so embarrassing to go over this, because someone hit the bar. He didn't even score." Oh, what an effort! Though. What an effort!
All right, let's move on. Let's start talking about Lautaro Martinez. First bit of info is from Fabrizio Romano. He says Tottenham want Lautaro Martinez, but they wanted to do a deal before Romelu Lukaku moved to Chelsea. Inter Milan say because they are losing Lukaku, they need to keep Martinez regardless of money. Ali Gold says at the moment Tottenham are not hopeful of securing Martinez following the expected Lukaku exit, but just how bad Inter's finances are will play their part in the weeks ahead if they cannot sell other players. And finally, La Repubblica are saying Inter are set to offer Martinez a brand new contract despite of the Tottenham interest. I mean, I can't really.
Updates,
I can't really see this one happening. To be fair, can you?
No, I think Chelsea has screwed us. I think the only way it happens is if Inter really are in much more dire straits financially than anyone thought, and maybe later in the window, if they haven't, as Ali Gold say, I think one of two things. If they haven't maybe sold some other players, if they need to, and Spurs are mainly willing to up the bid a bit, then maybe it can still happen. I don't think it's completely dead. I just think it's extremely unlikely now. Extremely unlikely. And that's a massive shame because it's a good opportunity to bring in a very, very talented striker, which there are not many right now around Europe who are gettable for Spurs, especially if Kane leaves. So it's really, really unfortunate that how it's played out, but sometimes that's how it is. If we could have secured the deal a couple of weeks ago, we would have probably got him. But now Chelsea stumped us by getting Lukaku. So I think this deal, unfortunately, is very close to being dead. I think.
Yeah. Dusan Vlahovic, Calcio Mercato say that reported Tottenham target Dusan Vlahovic is close to finalising a new contract with Fiorentina, which is interesting. I mean, Calcio Mercato are not exactly the most reliable of sources, let's put it that way. Romeo Agresti came on the channel and said that Fiorentina are offering a new contract, but he doesn't want to sign it. So it's interesting. Who do we believe on this one?
Yeah, they said he's close. Maybe they've got some sort of breakthrough with him. We have to see with Vlahovic. I'm hoping that he rejects it, or there's nothing much to it, because I think he'll be a very, very good option, especially if Martinez really is dead in the water. He's a very encouraging backup option, and Spurs apparently really like him. It's going to be pricey for who he is, but I think unfortunately we have to take a bit of a gamble because there are not many strikers available to us. So the really good ones are available, and we are able to get. You just have to. We can't afford to miss out on Vlahovic and Martinez, and then who we left with. There's not many players left. So hopefully he doesn't sign it, but sounds like they're going to offer it to him. We'll have to wait and see whether he agrees to it.
Yeah, it's interesting to see which strikers we're actually linked with at the moment. Because remember back when Jose was our manager and we were looking for that striker, we were linked with just such rubbish strikers, not rubbish, but like nowhere near the quality of these strikers, Willian Jose, and who else were we linked with? I can't even remember off the top of my head.
Can't remember. Yeah, load of strikers.
Just a load of them. And like these two are like night and day compared to those lot.
Yeah.
And what else is interesting is that for all to see, everyone reported Dusan Vlahovic would be our number one striker target. And then in the background, we're doing work for Lautaro Martinez.
Well, doesn't Paratici like to do 10 strikers players at a time? So we need to find out the
only
other 8
seen
names.
two, exactly.
We need to find out the other 8 names. Interesting. Got to get those. Got to get it rolling.
All right, and let's move on to the last and final story, and this is Tanguy Ndombele. Charlie Eccleshare just broke a story, and he says Tanguy Ndombele was available for yesterday's match against Arsenal. He was simply not selected, and he is now apparently considering his options. I mean, we heard last week that he's considering his options because his mates are leaving, and now, from Ali Gold, and now Charlie Eccleshare is saying he's considering his options. Because of, we don't know what it's because of, but
because he wasn't being selected, and maybe if he's not going to be as involved as he would like, he would rather leave. I don't know. It's a tough one to take because we're big fans of Ndombele on this channel, and we really believe in his talent. But unfortunately, it's now Nuno seems to have has a bit of an issue over him. I actually. Because I saw the quote from Nuno yesterday, but I decided to actually look at him answering the question. I don't know, and the way his body language when he was answering it about Tanguy, saying how he's not injured, but we didn't feel it right he'd be with us. I don't know. Seems something like there's an issue there. That's what I got the impression. Obviously, I'm reading into it, but the fact that actually saying it was available selection, he trained up until the game and just wasn't selected. Look, if Nuno doesn't fancy him, then we are best off taking the money, I'm guessing, which is a massive, massive shame.
If we can get the money, that's the thing.
That's the thing. He's on 200 grand a week. Who's going to be able to afford that right now? It's going to be very, very difficult to.
Who outside the Premier League now are spending that much on wages?
No one.
Absolutely no one.
Not on a new signing anyway.
No.
So it's difficult. It's going to be difficult for him to get out the door.
But at the end of the day, he's the one that's considering his options. We're not considering selling him, so he's the one that's going to take the wage drop.
Apparently, Spurs still have faith in him. That's what Eccleshare went on to say in the article.
Yeah, because Daniel Levy passed his exams when everyone told him he couldn't.
Well, this Mourinho quote here, which I posted on Twitter, I think just really resonates right now. He says, I think that by the talent point of view, by creation in midfield, by vision, he is second to no one in the whole of European football. But the feeling is that he always has more to give. He never reaches the limit of the effort and the sacrifice and even the ambition. So he is the guy I love as a player, but he frustrates me a little bit because I think he can be so much better than what he currently is. Yeah. And I think that's maybe the truth. And maybe... Mourinho had to part with that because it was Ndombele's second season. Maybe Levy was putting him under pressure to kind of, use him. And, to be fair, he did kind of get him playing. Yeah. But maybe Nuno's like not having it. Maybe he's just not having it and not even selecting him in a squad like that. Because that's what Mourinho kind of did at the beginning. Yeah. So, I don't know. So maybe... I don't think this is the end of the story just yet. I don't think he's we're going to see him leaving just yet. But I think it's again a worrying story. Always seems to be like these worrying stories with Ndombele about attitude and about whether the managers like fancy him or not in the team. Always seems to be some sort of stumbling block for him. For a guy of that much talent, it's so telling with all these problems around him, how his mentality is not there. And that Jose Mourinho quote is absolutely 1,000% spot on. Mason didn't pick him at all when he got appointed interim. Yeah. Mourinho at the beginning pretty much never played him. He said Pochettino had a bit of trouble with him as well in his first start. So if now Nuno's having trouble with him, he gets to a stage. Look, I'm not saying we're there yet, but does it get to a stage where he's too much trouble than it's worth? Does it get to that
Whatever happens with him, I mean, not whatever happens, but if it does go the way it's looking like it's going at the moment, what a shame it will be. What a shame. It's like to get such a good player through the door, second to none, like Jose said, and I genuinely believe that. I genuinely believe in his position, technically, I don't know if there's anyone better than him. I genuinely believe that.
There's
It's not
many
even
players-
delusion. That's
yeah,
not
there's-
even delusion.
There's not many players who can do what he can do in the centre
There's
of the
not.
park like that.
There's not. And I'm going to be gutted if he leaves. I really am.
But would it be acceptable if we got our money back for Ndombele and then
I
signed
can't see us
someone like
getting our money back though.
I know, but if we did and then sold and then signed Ruben Neves as a replacement,
Ruben Neves, I don't know, man. I think
I like
Tanguy
Neves.
Ndombele is such a better player than Ruben Neves.
yeah, but Neves has the proper attitude.
Yeah.
I guess.
I would like to sign
mentality.
someone. Maybe I like Neves as well. I'm not saying he's a bad player. I do like him, but I just don't like him in a replacement to Tanguy Ndombele.
Fair enough.
But anyway, that is your Tottenham update for today. Let me know in the comment section below if you have any thoughts regarding any of the news we brought to you today. Like, subscribe, and comment. And as always, come on, you Spurs.